Please turn to page 213 for the directions chapter to teach dictation in your reading groups. In the previous chapter, we focused on reading sight words and reading CVC words mixed together on word boards and sentences boards. These dictation activities are lessons where students now will practice writing sight words and CVC words mixed together in lists and also in a sentence. When writing, students need to switch between two strategies. Sounds familiar, correct? In the previous chapter, they were switching between strategies for reading, whether it was a sight word or whether to blend it. The I know it, I decode it. In this chapter, for dictation, for writing words down, they will need to switch between two strategies of I know it and I slow-mo it. I know it is the same strategy for reading and writing sight words. That's because students memorize those words to read them or to write them. In contrast, reading and spelling CVC words require different strategies. To read CVC words, remember, students are using the strategy I decode it. That's where they will blend the letters together. But to write CVC words, students are going to use a new strategy, I slow-mo it man. When they have to separate the individual sounds, the phonemes, in a word, identify the letters that match those sounds, and then write them down. Let's practice this. If I were reading the word mat, what do we tell children? Mat is a word that we're going to decode. So we're going to blend together the sounds so that we can read the word. Mat, mat. But if I'm writing, then I say the word. Oh, I'm writing the word mat. Now what do I need to do? I need to separate out those sounds in mat, segment them, identify each sound, and match a letter. First you say the word mat. Now let's segment the word. Mat. That's when we lose a lot of our students. They don't understand what we're doing. They say the word mat and then suddenly we're going and they don't get what just happened. They have difficulty hearing those individual sounds, separating those sounds. That's why I came up with the I slow-mo it man. The I slow-mo it man is going to be the bridge to segmenting. First you say the word mat. Next, we're going to slow-mo man the word, mat. And notice I'm saying t at the end. I'm not going mat because now I've added a schwa sound at the end, which is another sound. We want to say the word slowly, like in slow motion, mat, and then stop at the end. So let's go back. Say the word mat. Bridge it to segmenting with the slow-mo man word. Mat. Segment. At. What if you still have children who have difficulty with that? The slow-mo man isn't enough. Then you say the word, slow-mo man it, and add the physical, visual cues for your students to see and feel each sounds using my alphabet system. I always do the like we're rubbing our belly, and I touch my finger. Then for our A sound, ah. And then for our T, where we're tapping our teeth, t. So they have the visual cues and the physical cue to feel where that sound's being produced as we separate them, segment them into their different phonemes. Let's go through the whole process. Say the word, slow-mo man it, then segment using the physical cues as well as tapping each finger to represent each sound. Mat, mat, at, mat. Now we're going to write the word mat. And when we write, I use a finger hat. This finger hat shows children that every time I touch the finger that has the hat, we stop, identify what the letter is, and then write it down. So let's go through the whole process again. Mat, mat, If students have trouble identifying what the letter is quickly, I give them 2 choices on the alphabet chart. Is that like milk or is that like snake? Notice I'm using the letter M, the correct letter, first, because when I give 2 choices, I don't want to give the correct one last, because if students don't know what you're talking about, many times they'll just say the last thing that you just said. And I also try to give 2 sounds that are very different from each other for them to make their selection. So again, I say, is that like milk or is that like snake? Then the students will say milk, and I will say, that's the letter M. And they say M. Notice we're saying the sound and the name of the letter. And also milk with that initial sound. And I'm giving the visual cue of rubbing my belly. Then I'm going to go into the uppercase and lowercase, and I'm going to ask, what color do we use, the red or the green? Always the green, unless we know the rule. Capitalizing the beginning of a sentence or a person's name, then we know that's a red letter rule, and that's when we use the red letter. What color do we use, the red or the green? Always the green, unless we know the rule. At that point, they would write down the M. And when they're writing the M, they could have down the pole, over the hump, if they need a reminder of how to form the letter. Remember, always use the different techniques that we have in this program to help students master all of these different skills. And in this case, the letter chant if they forget how to write the letter M. After I've written down the M, what do? I tell the children, boys and girls, we have written down this sound with the letter M. Now we're going to move our finger hat to this sound. When we get to this sound, we will stop, hold on to that letter sound, and then write it down. Let's go back to the beginning. Say the word mat. Slow-mo man, mat. Now we'll segment. And as we hold that sound, the children are either going to quickly say A. If they can't, then what do? I go back to my alphabet chart to give them 2 choices. Where does the letter go? Far away or snuggled? Snuggled. Is it going to be a red or a green letter? A green letter. Write it down. Backward ball, down the pole. We'll do the same thing for the letter T. And we have our word mat that they've written down. Let's now go through the chapter so that we can see all the different dictation activities and the directions in order for you to teach them to the students. Notice at the top of page 214, there are 2 completed dictation pages from a student's portfolio. The left page is the dictation page at the word level, while the right page is the dictation page at the sentence level. Let's look at the layout of both of these pages. First of all, the word page displays 2 characters. There's our I know it, and there's the I slow-mo it characters. Under the I know it character are solid lines. That's because the solid line is the visual cue that it's a sight word, meaning that it's a word that you memorized and you're writing down the whole word. You're thinking about the whole word. Underneath the slow-mo it character are dotted lines for each word. And in this case, 3, because we're just doing CVC words with 3 phoneme sounds. And this shows the students that they are matching 3 letters, 1 for each sound in these words. And on the sentence page, we will see the same visual cues when it's a sight word, a solid line, solid, solid, and right here you see this is our CVC word, so you have the 3 dotted lines. Each one of those dotted lines is to write down a letter that represents each phoneme in the CVC words. Also notice a picture that's underneath the CVC word. That picture is from the decodable book that's at the level of these lessons. So when students are doing their dictation sentences, they'll see pictures that match in their decodable books. In this particular case, this picture is from the book TAM. Near the end of this book, they have a picture of that mat. It's just a wonderful way for children to bridge books that they're reading to their dictation sentences. They see these familiar pictures. And in this case, it was a simple picture because it was an early book. And as you go up the levels, you'll see more and more complex pictures on the dictation sentences. One other thing that I want you to see on both of these pages is a little cheat sheet for you as a teacher. On the word page, down on the bottom, lower left part of the page are all the dictation words. So you don't need to go to a teacher manual to figure out what words am I going to have the students write down in their list today. It's right there on the bottom of the page in a tiny cursive font so that the students would not be able to refer to them when they're writing them down on their own page. The same thing for the dictation sentence for you to conduct the lesson. On page 215 is the dictation puppet. The front side of the puppet displays both characters for the objective of the lesson. Boys and girls, we are going to write words. And when we write words, we either know the word, so we write it down as fast as a snap, or we don't know the word, so we use the slow-mo man to stretch the word out so that we can find each sound to write it down. I know it or I slow-mo it. On the reverse side of the puppet, that's our chant that tells students what they need to do to write. Know it or slow-mo it. Know it or slow-mo it. Spelling is easy. Know it or slow-mo it. The black line masters for this puppet are on pages 216 and 17. Or you can go to my website and download both puppets in color. On pages 218, 219 are directions to teach the dictation word list. The dictation word list is in the student portfolio, so the students would open up their portfolio to their dictation word list. When you are giving students tools for the dictation word list, they may just need an as fast as a snap chart. But if they also need help with their letter sounds, then notice on page 219, this student not only has a fast as a snap chart to use as a reference, but also an ABC mat and letter cards. Now let's get started on the lesson. In the lesson, you will have two words, either a sight word, which is a snap word, or a slow-mo man word, which is one of our CVC words with letters that we already know. When I say a word, you need to tell me, is that an I know it word or a slow-mo it word? After you decide the strategy of how to write the word down, then you will write it underneath that character. Let's go ahead and begin. So I may say to the students, the word is like. The students then say like. Always have them repeat the word. That's an I know it word. On their dictation page, they would point to their I know it character and say, I need to write it down as fast as a snap. If they need help remembering how to spell like, then they would go to their board, point to it, and then write it down. And notice they've written down the word underneath the I know it character, because that strategy is you're memorizing the word to read or write it as fast as a snap. Next, I may say the word is Sam, and the kids will say, oh, that's a slow-mo it word. Point to the slow-mo man word. Let's go through and use slow-mo man to help us write Sam. Sam, Sam. S. Is that like the s snake sound? Or is that like the milk sound? S. That's the letter S. What letter? S. Which one are we going to write down, red or green? Capitalize person's name, then we know that's a red letter rule. Use the red letter. Write it down. So then they would write down on that first dotted line the S. We would move the hat to our next finger, say the word, slow-mo man it, isolate the sounds, and then write them down so that we would have the word Sam. You continue this process where you're giving the word, the students decide what strategy, they use it, and record it on their page. As we go through the process of using slow-mo man and we're moving our finger hat from one finger to another, if you find that the students are still having trouble, what I suggest, we identified each sound as we touch the finger hat. Instead of writing it on their paper, they slide the letters on their table. And finally, at the end of saying all the sounds for Sam, they had the word built with letters. Then they went over and wrote it on their word list. That is a scaffolding tool for students who need more support in writing CVC words. Again, this is just a support for you to help students. You could even use these letter cards just for a warm-up, where you say different CVC words, they say the sounds, and they slide the letters to build them. Then go in and do your dictation word test. This is how we do the dictation word list. Let's move on to writing a sentence. Please turn to page 220 for directions to teach the dictation sentence. In this activity, students are going to practice identifying and utilizing the spelling strategies, whether it's an I know it word or a slow-mo it word, while in the flow of writing a sentence. Students go to their student portfolio. They open up to their dictation sentence page. Notice they're going to have to turn it so that it's in the landscape position, writing the sentence across the page so they have more room. Again, the sentence is hidden in the corner in a tiny cursive font for you to refer to. You would say to the students, boys and girls, our sentence today is, I like the mat. You say that, I like the mat. Let's touch each one of these different parts of our sentence for each word. Ready? I like the mat. So at this point, the students' lines are blank, and they would just be touching blank lines. I like the mat. Let's go back and let's write the first word. Say the sentence again. I like the mat. Now let's touch the lines. I. What kind of word is that? Snap word. Find it on your chart or write it down if you know it by memory. I. So they write it down. Put your pencil underneath that first word. Say the sentence. I like the mat. Now let's read the sentence. When we get to a line that doesn't have a word, stop. Ready, go. I like. Stop. Like's not there. Snap or slow-mo. Snap. Write it down. If you need help, find it on your chart. Then they write the word down. What if they need help with forming the letters? Then they say the letter chants. Down the pole, dot the I, down the pole, down the ladder, down the slide. Cross the bridge, open your mouth, like. So as they are writing down the word, if they need help with the letter formation, they say the letter formation chant. Otherwise, if they're writing down a sight word, I want them just to say L-I-K-E, like, and spell out the word as they write it. Let's go back to the beginning. Say the sentence again. I like the mat. Ready? Hop with your pencil and touch each line. I like the. Stop. What kind of word? Snap word. Find it on your chart. Then they write it down. T-H-E. Go back to the beginning of the sentence. Say the sentence. I like the mat. Ready? I like the mat. Then we go to the slow-mo man strategy. Say the word, slow-mo man it. Then touch your finger for each sound using the alphabet cues, at, and stopping when you get to the finger hat. Stop and write down that letter that represents that sound. Mat, mat, at, mat. At the end of this lesson, we go back and I say to the students, every sentence has a capital, every sentence has a stop, every sentence has a capital, every sentence has a stop. What does every sentence have? Capital and a stop. We're going to go back to the beginning of our sentence and we're going to make sure, do we have a capital? Do we have a stop? And in order to do that, we get out a red pen or pencil or crayon, and we trace over the first letter, making sure that it's a capital. That's where I take out my ABC chart again, and I say to the students, here's our letter I. It's the beginning of a sentence. Which one are we going to use? The red one. We always capitalize the beginning of a sentence. And it's also the word I, and I doesn't like to be by itself, so it's always capitalized. So we have a double whammy here. A word that always needs to be capitalized when it's by itself, I, and it's also at the beginning of a sentence. Let's color code our letter to show that we did capitalize it. So we go back and students with a red crayon trace over their word I, showing that they capitalized it. Go to the end of the sentence and put a period at the end. Color your period red to show that you know that the sentence has a stop at the end, and that's our period. Now students have their complete sentence. I like the mat. And they have their capital, they have their period, they have the letters snuggled together, and they also have been putting together in that sentence the strategies of whether it's an I know it or slow-mo it word. On page 221 are the letter cards. This shows you the letter cards and how there are 5 different pages divided by the color group where they learn those sounds. These are the red level, orange, yellow, green, and blue. This way, when you're making words and you're having students use the letters, they're only the ones that they have practiced and learned in their reading groups. They put the letters at their table and then you're giving them a word. This activity is what I talked about before when students need extra help when it comes to segmenting words. In other words, they're segmenting the word, isolating the sound, but to have them go and write the letter on the paper, it may take too much time. This provides you with much more speed in the lesson. So they may be saying the word rat, they slow-mo man it, rat. Then they find the letter, and in this case they found the R, then they went back and found the A, and next they would look in the letters they know and find the T and put it up there to build the word rat. After they build it, then they can go and write it down on their page. This scaffolding tool is absolutely necessary for those children that need more support to help them get to the writing of the words on the page. This was our dictation chapter where we were teaching students the strategies of how to write words down on paper. They either know it or slow-mo it. The next couple of chapters will go into the students' books, where now they're taking all the skills that we've learned from letters to blending to sight words in order to read the running text in their decodable books. Let's get started in the next chapters where the students are doing what we finally want them to do, read books.